Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this week's video, we are going to take a look at the highly underrated Korg Monotribe and why I love it as one of the more creative yet super basic synths in my studio that I utilize. So let's get into it. For those that missed the release of the Monotribe, which was probably one of the first sort of compact design. I think it was around the same time as the Monotrons, the little delay and analog and whatnot. But the thing that I love about this is the sound. It sounds phenomenal. It has a lot of features built into it. Whilst the drums are not phenomenal, they are good to sort of jam along with and get ideas going. And you can see that they've taken a lot of this intellectual property and put it into the newer synths. Like you have the little step sequencer here, and they've kind of, I feel like they've kind of grown on that idea and then added it into their poly synths and stuff like that, and the other mono synth. Plus, you have bits carried over from the past. So you have the MS-20 filter, you have the ribbon strip, which is, I mean, it's shared by the Monotrons, but also other synths have sort of picked up on that idea as well. So that's nothing new. But I find that they've kind of borrowed from the past for a lot of ideas and then taken those ideas and used them in their future projects, which I think is awesome. But for this one, I find it really inspirational to kind of get out and jam out. And whilst getting ready for this video, I lost a ton of time just having fun and jamming and not making music for the sake of a release, just having fun making music and making sounds. So let's get into it. We'll jam a little bit on here. I'll show you how I have kind of got the same sequencer going within Ableton. It's not perfect. I find that the one on here is a lot better. But yeah, let's get into it and have some fun. So for those that haven't seen it or haven't really had much hands-on time with it, you have the octave choice here. You have the oscillator shape. You have the filter. We have this. This is for the ribbon, so you can go key, or you can go a narrow or a wide sort of key bed. So or you can go wide or narrow. So I just usually have mine set to key. It's a little easier to navigate and you can kind of get the keys pressing that you want to. We have a little noise here, so you can add that in to sort of dirty it up a little bit more. It is pretty noisy, but it is what it is. Here is where we can control, and we have all our button presses for kick drum, snare, and the hats, and then obviously we have the synth here, and then you can see the keys here, the lights here rather, for which ones are the active steps. Here we have the synth volume. We have, this is the envelope generator, so we just have like a down slope, always on, and then a kind of a soft attack. I usually tend to go between the down, pretty sharp attack and the just always on. And then we have the targets for the LFO, so we have either VCF, VCO and VCF, or VCO, so I like to have it at VCF. I like to just keep it funky like that. And then we have the LFO fast, slow, or one shot. And then this one shot can also be a sample and hold. Don't tend to use that too much. And then we have the shapes for the LFO. We have saw, triangle, and square. Obviously over here we have the volume of the drums and then the tempo, and that is it. super basic. And now that I've just waffled on about it, let's get into some of the sounds it can make. To start off with, I am going to just utilize all of the internal, so we can go through that. So actually, to start off, let's go to synth and then let's just record one note. So that's the kick drum there. Let's take that off for now. Pull the filter down a little bit. Actually, let's get the kick going. I like to keep the record on, and then I will just sort of grow the pattern from there. So now we got sort of something going here. And then with now some of the steps rather. Let's flick it over to the saw wave. Let's get that resonance up a little bit. Get a little bit more acid sort of feel. And you can start to see there, as soon as I take away some of the steps, it just gets it super funky now. Now let's start messing with the LFO a little bit. One thing that I do like to do is I've got it set to fast and to the VCF, so the filter. We'll go the amount, we're going to go full. And it kind of gives that sort of like 2000s sort of electro where you like Mr. Wazo and stuff like that. So let's go to the triangle and with the rate all the way to full and the amount all the way to full, we get this really throaty sort of bass now. And I just have this set to 8 steps. I find that when I increase it, so it's kind of too erratic, so I keep it just that sort of chugging along. Let's get some more notes in now. So for that one, I just held down the note and then just went through the octave selection a little bit. Now we can kind of go. Let's go to the square wave. Let's add a little bit of noise in there. whilst you can't get too many sort of tones and stuff like that, I find that it does really do. So whilst you can't get too many tones with it, I find that it does some things really well, and I love just getting that sort of dirty sound, and I find that it has way more weight to it than the Volca bass and everything like that. All of the Volca series, I find that this one just has so much more weight to it. So whilst it's awesome using this, it is kind of a bit of a faff around to get it synced. You need the app, or you need to send clock out of Ableton. It's like a whole thing. So we're going to utilize the built-in, one of the Max for Live plugins, the sequencer, and I've just set it to 8 steps, and then we've kind of got something similar to what we've got going on here, where we can take away notes and move them around and stuff like that. Obviously, this is you get a lot more happy accidents because you're just kind of bashing around and seeing what comes. But this way, once we get something that we like, we can just record it in and away we go. So let's get this going. Let's take find that note that we got up here. Change these patterns around a little bit. Almost like a vocal. It's almost like a vocal sort of feel to it. I feel like you could go and record a bunch of this, edit it all up, cut it up, and put it onto like a drum group or into the MPC and get something. You fucking asshole. I feel like you could get this and cut up all of these parts and then put it into a drum instrument or something like that to get all the cuts and then kind of play them over the top. That's why I love it, because it has all these different sort of weird and quirky bits about it. Yeah, you can get these sounds from other synths and plugins and stuff like that, but there's something about having so few buttons and knobs and everything to push and pull and whatnot to get something that inspires you to create something. It's so, I mean, it's easy for me to say a bunch of stuff in the studio, but to have something super simple, get you inspired and get you writing music, and that is the main thing. There's no point having a bunch of synths if you don't use them. And you don't have to make music to release, but as long as you're using them to be creative and having fun, that's the main thing. So at the end of the day, I think that's about it. We've kind of covered the Monotribe, why I love it, why I love the sequencer, and how you can use the built-in Max for Live plugin within Ableton to kind of get something similar. If you have one of these and you haven't used it for a while, maybe it's time to sort of drag it out and have a little bit of fun. If you don't have one and you're looking for something that's pretty inspirational but relatively easy on the pocket, this might be the go. And if Korg's watching this, let's make it number 2. Let's make it a little bit bigger, a little bit more functionality, and maybe some individual outs for the drums and whatnot, and an easy way to sync it, and I would be super happy. So hopefully this has inspired you to create something today, and until next time, see you later.